Next up, we have our fourth topic coming up, the global startup and entrepreneurship movement. And for the second time in Startup Iceland, we have a very nice speaker with us. Ingrid Vanderveldt is a very inspirational entrepreneur and founder of Empowering a Billion Women by 2020 and the Vanderveldt Global Investments. Ms. Vanderveldt has also been the entrepreneur in residence for Dell, and she created and hosted the CNBC's original primetime series, American Made. She is here to talk about the aforementioned project, Empowering a Billion Women before 2020. So, Ms. Ingrid.
All right,
hello.
Thank you. If you guys are okay with it, I'm going to walk down here. I just got off a plane from the States to be here with you guys, so I prefer to walk around. Is that okay? Can you see me? Okay, great. First of all, hi, Ambassador. Nice to see you again. Bala, thank you for having me. So I have a confession to make as well. The presentation that I was going to give to you, as I was literally doing my layover in Chicago, one of my producers called me and he said, "You know what, Ingrid?" He said, "You know, how many of you in the room are entrepreneurs?" Okay, good. Great, because I am too. I'm a tech entrepreneur. I've built and sold many companies in the United States. I'm an investor now. I run Empowering a Billion Women by 2020, former business television host, so a very diverse career. But what my producer said to me as I was coming through Chicago, he said, "Ivy," my nickname, Ivy, he said, "When you were there last year, you were talking about why you started Empowering a Billion Women by 2020. And he said, but for so many entrepreneurs, like you go out and build these really big global ventures. Right before I did this venture, I was the entrepreneur in residence for Dell for 3 years. So I oversaw entrepreneurial initiatives globally for the company and essentially built a $1 billion business for them within 36 months. So it grew very, very fast. And he said, you know what I'd really think they'd like to hear? He said, instead of talking about what you were going to talk about, why don't you teach them some of the things that you've learned in this year of building Empowering a Billion Women by 2020. Because I think that, and I certainly thought this before I started these big kind of ideas, that people who build really big ideas, they just sort of know what they're doing, right? I mean, if they didn't know what they were doing, they wouldn't even maybe try it in the first place, right? But so often, as entrepreneurs, we're just trying to get our venture off the ground. We don't know what we're doing. We're trying things out. There are some things that work. There are some things that don't work. So that's what I thought I would do. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the company. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why women should be part of your strategy, your economic strategy for your business. But then we're going to jump right into 5 lessons learned. And I have a short period of time, so we're going to blaze through these things because I don't want, well, actually I said if you're going to take your clothes off, maybe I'll go over on time, okay? All right, so here's what we're talking about. Making the impossible possible, the road to empowering a billion women. So like I said, we're gonna cover background and the 5 lessons that I'm gonna go over with you. These are not rocket science things, but I promise you, these are the 5 things that this year have been so core to our learning at EBW 2020 and core to our ability to sort of, as we like to say in startup world, pivot and move our business in the direction that we want to go. And those are the power of one, the power of leverage, the power of taking the first step, the power of time, and the power of you. So let's jump right into it. So what is EBW 2020, right? Everybody asks me, and I always say, well, we're building tools, technology, and resources to empower a billion women by 2020 through mobile, mentors, and money. But we're essentially a for-profit company. We're a holding company. We're developing financial technology solutions to help women essentially make more money, because the more money that women make, the bigger impact we're able to have in the world. And a big difference between men and women in terms of making money is it's a linear process for men when they make money. They just like to make, I'm just generalizing here, so I hope I see some nodding heads. But part of why I like working with the guys is when we talk about making money, you just say, we're going to make money because we're just going to make money. It's a linear process. It's kind of a game. For women, it's very, very, very different. Women want to make a lot of money because we want to make a difference in the world. That's what we want to do. So we teach them how to do that. So our business is to develop, sell, and collect data on financial training, planning, and certification, products and services for women. We help women make money. We help teach them how to do that. But the really cool thing about our business is, do you guys know Tom's Shoes? You know that model? Okay, we're kind of like Tom's Shoes. For every dollar that we make in our business, we reinvest it into educational programs for women and girls around the world through our mobile devices. And we teach them about entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Sort of the Trojan horse secret sauce behind our entire business is we are very quickly amassing the most robust database on women, entrepreneurs, their trends, their spending. If you're a corporation, you're trying to figure out how do we reach women in Ethiopia? Where are they spending that money? We have that data now. Because we collect data not only on women in developed countries, but women in developing countries through our mobile apps. So thanks to all of you and our purchasing, and your purchasing with us, in terms of our mobile apps alone, we've been able to reach over 1 million people in 72 countries over the past year, and our social reach has been over 700 million. So we track our path to 1 billion women by 2020 a number of different ways. Obviously, the really sort of icing on the cake for us would be that we actually have a mobile device into the hands of 1 billion women around the world, and we are directly interacting with all of them. That's 1/7 of the world's population. Pretty ambitious goal, but that's where we are now. So we're forging forward. Okay, so why do we care, right? So what's the big deal about women? Well, philosophically, I'm very involved in policy in the United States as well. We fundamentally believe if we're going to create a global sustainable future, it's going to happen through a new set of eyes, and that's the eyes of women. Because when you help a woman make more money, when you invest in a woman, they tend to drive 35% higher return on investment. When they're venture-backed, they bring in 12% higher revenue. But the real kicker is that, like I said before, women want to do well because they want to have impact. They reinvest, and my husband will agree with this. When I pull out the checkbook to make more investments, he prays that I'll just stop. But we got to go, because we got to hit that 90% number, right? Because women want to put our money to work. So the vision of EBW 2020, originally many years ago, started with a cell phone in every hand, like I said. We do truly aspire to reach 1 billion women around the world. By having a mobile device in their hands, we're not in that business. Our business is get them onto our platform and help them understand how to be financially successful, whether that is how do you manage your cash if you have a cow and you're in Africa and you're trying to figure out how to support your family, or whether you are a woman building a very large, fast growth company in the United States. We want to help you understand at all those different levels, how do you actually make money, and then what can you do with it? That vision back in 2011 brought me to Dell, where I mentioned I headed up global initiatives, and I already told you some of the numbers there. The reason I mentioned that is because very quickly we built a very successful business. I won't go through the numbers because of time. And if my voice sounds shaky, it's because since I did just fly over, I think I drank about 10 coffees. And I could totally use another one. All right. So, and we delivered about a 48 times return on investment. So the reason I point this out, and the reason that I went to Dell, is because part of this idea for all of us as entrepreneurs, when I get into why are we going to talk about these 5 things that I learned, because I really want you to think about what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the world. When I set out through my calling of empowering 1 billion women by 2020, it sounds pretty crazy. In fact, that same producer that said, share the story of the things you've learned, was the first person I told when I was, quote unquote, called back in 2011 to empower 1 billion women by 2020. I didn't even really know what that meant. I just knew I needed to do it. And he said, please don't tell anybody that. They are going to think you are absolutely crazy. But instead, you go and find, just like you're hearing these conversations and presentations by Vodafone and Merrill, like these corporations that are here with you, that want to partner with you, that they are serious about that. When I went and had a conversation with Michael Dell and said, this is going to sound completely crazy, but I have a vision to empower 1 billion women by 2020, getting a mobile device into the hands of women around the world, getting them onto our platform, and being able to help coach them through financial literacy and entrepreneurship, it does not take a rocket scientist to realize that when you have an entrepreneur that's doing what they're passionate about, I'm going to bust through walls to make this dream happen, just like all of you, right? So if you're a guy like Michael Dell, you look at somebody like me or all of you, and you say, even if I royally screw this up, like even if I start going down the pathway of trying to reach those billion women, if those devices are Dell devices, that's pretty interesting business to them, right? And very quickly, we got Dell into the #1 position for entrepreneurs around the world with our strategy. So please listen to what you're saying here. They are here for a reason, and that was critical to the success of where we are today. A lot of press. We continue to get a lot of press, but which has been great. So when you go and you follow your passion, follow your calling, and you follow those crazy ideas that everybody says are totally impossible, it's a lot of fun when people start realizing, wow, this person is going to make this happen. And it's fun to see the press. But it wasn't always easy. In fact, it was very, very difficult. I shared last year about one of my ventures that I ran into the wall so badly I became broke and homeless. I lost everything I owned. And I had to, step by step by step, get my life turned around. This is now, thank God, many years ago. But you learn a lot in those really dark spots. And one of the things that I learned was the power of having a great mentor. So if you do nothing else out of coming out of this today, please make sure you have a mentor if you don't have one yet. And when I say find a mentor, find somebody who's actually done what it is you want to do. This was the guy, George Kosmetsky, who mentored Michael Dell. When I came out of business school back in the day, many years ago, won't admit, but when that happened, I envisioned being the female version of Michael Dell. And so I knew Michael Dell wasn't going to mentor me. This is now years ago. But I thought, who mentored him? And it was this guy. And this guy was the guy who got behind me early on in my career. And when I was just tripping and tripping and tripping and my ventures were falling apart, he was the one to say, dang, 3 minutes. He did not say 3 minutes, but that's what I just heard. Okay, so what are we doing? We're the #1 financial empowerment platform for women entrepreneurs worldwide. Why? I already explained some of that, but women are really controlling the spending around the world. I do want to spend just a second on this slide because I did, for all the men, especially in the room, why do you care about the stats on women? Here's why you care. This is why Michael Dell and Steve Felice, who was president of Dell, backed everything I did at Dell. This slide right here. If you want to grow your business and you want to do it in a way that you don't have to spend a ton of money and you create a huge business opportunity for yourself where people sell for you, go and target women. Because 91% of women do not believe that corporations understand them, so they don't buy from you. But if they think that you are actually trying to help them be successful, right? It's not all about money. It's about helping them. Help them make impact. 79% would try the product or service. 80% would secure their loyalty to the brand. And then the next one is the kicker. So please, if you don't have your phones out, you're not taking a picture, I get paid a lot of money to go teach corporate executives this slide. 92% will pass that on. So when I explained that we generated a 48 times return on investment at Dell, it was because of this stat right here. We went after women, figured out how do we help them be successful, go after the influencers, and they turned around, loved what we were doing, told all their friends, and we exploded. And that's what's happening at EBW. But here's the thing. So I said a lot of learning. When we launched the business a year ago, I think we actually, I'm not sure, Bala, if we launched this right before I got here or we just launched it. Okay, $100 million. So we have a $100 million fund for women. That's part of our business. So we want to teach you how to make money, and then we want to make sure you get that money. But when we started the business, I thought, let's just launch the fund first, because that's going to be a really great carrot to get all these women into the business, right? Not a single woman applied. Not a single one. And as much as, because I am a capitalist, I found myself thinking maybe I'm going to throw up my hands and just sell to all the dudes, because it is a lot of fun to make money. And you guys were coming in, applying to this fund, but it's for women. So we took a deep breath and we said, you know what? If we solve the problem of why women are not applying for this fund, if we fundamentally solve that in a scalable way, we will have a far bigger business than we ever thought originally possible. So that's where we turned our attention, and let me just jump into the lessons learned. Okay, power of one. This is just the realization that, okay, our business when we first launched was not working in the way I thought. I thought people were going to come in, apply for the fund, we're going to make transaction fees, then we're going to build out our coaching initiatives for women. That didn't happen. Okay, what we realized is we fundamentally had to get in early on with women, and using through software, we had to help them develop a path to build confidence around financial literacy and build a path to having a really strong financial plan. And once women understand, and that's the fun thing about selling and working with women, once you give women a glimmer of hope of how something works, they go gangbusters. That's why they tell all their friends, and there's that 92%. They go nuts. Whether you're building big businesses or whether you're building little businesses or whatever it is. So the key for us was how do we build software that can fundamentally enable them to understand financial literacy and grow. But the thing that really I had to, and like I said, this is not rocket science stuff, but I just really want to invite, and we only have a moment here, but I really want to invite all of you in the room who, whether you're like doing awesome on your path, like awesome, I'd love to talk to you. We're filming a documentary actually. So if you have great tips, please join us and be on the documentary. We'd love to hear it. But for those of you, if you're like me, I mean, I really did struggle so often in my career and continue to. We have our daily struggles. And I realized that the power of one is that if you are the one person that can make your venture happen, and instead of trying to, boil the ocean, just an executive at one company said, how do you do these big things? And we said, well, you just take one bite at a time, one step at a time. Okay, so one person, one activation. So what's the one thing that you can do to build your business? And be clear on your why. Because if you are building a venture, whether it's a small venture, whether it's empowering 1 billion women or a $100 million fund, why are you doing it? Really do what you're called to do. Because that's the thing that's going to get you to bust through those walls when everybody tells you it's not going to work and things aren't working the way you thought they would. So this is really important. The next one is the power of leverage. So one of the things that I have decided I'm going to be a master at, and I've really focused a lot of my career on this, is how do I create leverage? So if I'm this one secret sauce element to my particular business, how do we scale it? And you scale it through leverage. So I can't go through the explanations of this, but the long story short of it was, as we were looking at how are we going to rapidly scale the solution to help women understand financial literacy, build a financial plan so that they will apply into this $100 million fund. Well, I looked at, okay, we can develop this in-house, or I can go and buy some companies. So I went out and I acquired 3 companies because I wanted to get this done very, very fast. And that's how we created leverage. So the first company, Sharon Lechter, wrote Think and Grow Rich for Women, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I purchased all of her assets. She's the #1 financial literacy expert in the US. Then I went and purchased the mobile app company that teamed with Facebook. They're the only company to have a partnership with Mark Zuckerberg to distribute to women entrepreneurs and provide financial literacy training. So we bought them. And then the final one was our financial software. And I didn't have a gajillion dollars to spend on it. I did it through equity. I did it through equity and some cash. So you can get really creative on how to create leverage. Third thing is the power of taking the first step. All right, so I've bought and sold companies for years, but when I'm doing it for myself under my own venture, it can be a little bit intimidating. So I was like, man, am I really doing this right? Am I paying too much? How does this work? And that's where I just kept reminding myself the power of taking the first step. So in those moments of complete fear, as you're building your business forward, again, not rocket science stuff, but the things that have allowed me to stay really grounded over, especially this past year, are 3 things. I do daily meditation. I don't start a single day without doing that, so I make sure I stay really grounded. The second thing is I really focus on our business model and our financials. I'm constantly looking at those. Do they line up with the vision that we have? Is the business going in the direction that we want it to go? And when I say the top three daily goals, I literally walk around with a sticky pad of paper that I carry around everywhere that has my top 3 goals. And those top 3 goals are always, always, always financing, sales, and customers. How are we taking care of them? That's what they're about. The fourth one is the power of time, and I'm about to wrap this up. So the power of time, okay. This one, the reason I'm pointing this out is because when the third point there, getting comfortable being uncomfortable, I showed you the picture of my mentor, George Kosmetsky. So he was the one that was like painting the picture for me of, wow, things are going to take a lot longer and it'll be a lot more expensive than you thought. And I kept thinking, especially when I was a young entrepreneur, no, I'm going to figure this out, we're going to get it done, and it never works the way you want it to, right? When I finally got that part of just being really uncomfortable sometimes and being completely scared half to death, that's part of earning your stripes as a successful entrepreneur. If you're not getting comfortable being uncomfortable, you're not innovating enough. You're not innovating fast enough. You're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're not moving things forward enough. So that's part of being a successful entrepreneur. I always remind myself of difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Us solving the problem that I shared with you through these acquisitions, our business has already grown multiple times the size of what we thought it would do in this first year, because what we launched last year didn't work the way we thought it would, and we solved that problem. So we listened to our customers. And 3x, things cost 3 times as much, take 3 times as long to get done. There is no more truth to that. And you are lucky if you're less than that. And the last one, I saw this quote. It's actually the guy who's like lead singer of the, what are they called? The Foo. Thank you. What's his name? Dan. Yeah, of course you would know this. Exactly. He said, there's a few people say this, but they keep crediting him. I wish to God that it had somehow come out of my body, but who cares? It's the best quote ever. Because in those moments, again, of my total fear, especially when I'm working with women all over the globe, and they're like, what the heck am I doing? This is not working. And I just like to remind everybody that no one is you, and that is your power. And truly, when you show up and bring that to the table, when you bring that to the discussions with these corporations that are sitting here today, and you talk from your perspective about why your idea is going to work and add value to their business, and you can collaborate together, there's no one better that knows that than you, because you are the customer. So those are the 5 steps, things that I have learned. No one is you, and that is your power. And come join us at EBW 2020. There's free stuff there. So come join us. We'd love for you. I would not be doing my job if I didn't say that. So get on your phones and sign up. Yeah. Thank you.